All right, this is week 6 of the NFL. I had to take a bit of a hiatus I had emergency surgery. We're fine. We're good, right? That's all that really matters is I'm doing better. And I returned to work yesterday. So that's one surgery out of the woods. I'm actually pretty excited about this one. I got a little bit better of a setup. I do apologize for the fan noise that you guys will hear. Things will get better as I continue to build this up and hopefully get bigger and better as we go. But I am pretty excited. I got like a little laptop over here that I can see myself and some other stuff. And then up here, you're going to see me looking up here a lot. I got a big old 32-inch, 28-inch monitor. And it has all my information for the games and for this week and then me talking about next week. I'm thinking about adding maybe a section about the St. Louis Cardinals and the St. Louis Blues. Maybe not today. We might. We'll burn that bridge when we get there. But sorry about the backwards hat. I'm not a backwards hat guy, but with the light that I'm using, it looks a little weird frontward, right? Shout out to Majin Vegeta. But we're gonna have to use the backwards hat today, at least for the lighting, and so I don't look like a little freak. So let's get started with Bills versus the Jets, which was Monday night. This was a not great game by Aaron Rodgers. I talked last time about how good he is and all this stuff, and he makes me look like an idiot. On the stat sheet, it doesn't really say that. I mean, 300 passing yards and 2 touchdowns with 1 pick isn't necessarily bad, but the one pick sealed the game, and he immediately blamed his wide receiver. I don't know if you guys saw the interviews, but he was talking about that pick, and it was a streak down the sideline, and he said that his receiver didn't get to the red line. For those who don't know, the red line is something that's used on NFL practice fields, and it's about 4 yards off the sideline. So if you're talking about fade routes or go routes, you have to beat your DB, and then you have to get to the red line because it gives the quarterback play to the sideline if he wants to throw back shoulder ball, or if he wants to fade you to the sideline to make it to where you're the only one who can catch it. Well, he throws this ball, and it's a horrendous ball. I mean, is it Mike Williams? Is he the receiver? Not 100% sure on that. I could be wrong. But he falls down trying to get back to this quote-unquote red line because it's such a badly thrown ball. He's basically trying to break up the interception. He's not trying to catch the ball at this point. It's just for him to blame his receiver on a ball that he's falling away, moving to his left with no pressure on him. There's no immediate pressure in his face, but he's falling away, and it feels like he's doing it. Oh, this would look cool, right? Put this in a highlight reel. But he ends up throwing a pick and sealing the game. Breece Hall had a great night rushing, 18 carries for 113 yards. That's great. But when your quarterback kind of just gets rid of every chance you're going to have to win because he throws a pick, is not great. Sorry. But, yeah, I mean, it's just, you get to a point where you have this kind of like locker room cancer type deal, and it didn't really feel like that should have been Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if his darkness that he took to make this quote-unquote decision that everyone knew he was going to the Jets, a decision kind of changed him or what, but it was just weird. I don't know. On the other side, we have Josh Allen with 215 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Josh Allen is literally figuratively and every other kind of special word you can say, the heartbeat of this team. Not just because he's a leader and everything else that comes with that, but if he has a bad game, they're going to lose. Granted, now they just traded for, who was it? Oh, off the top of my head. I just picked him up in fantasy. Actually, let's Google it, right? Because we can do that now. They traded for Amari Cooper. That's what it is. For a 3rd round pick in 2025 and a 7th round pick in 2026. As much as I'd like to say that makes him a Super Bowl contender, I don't know, because Amari Cooper has been kind of mid since he left. At the time, the Raiders, but it was just it's a good trade. It gives him a clear wide receiver 1 now, which is nice, but I don't know how much it does for them if Josh Allen is going to be inconsistent as he is. He had a great night tonight, or Monday night, but is that going to happen every night? No. We've seen it. I mean, we've seen games where he's thrown 3 interceptions and had 125 passing yards. Not great. Ray Davis was their running back for the night because everybody else on this team just seems to be injured. He had 20 carries for 97 yards. Cool. Great night. Their receiving leader was also Ray Davis for 3 catches for 55 yards. That's the one thing Josh Allen has done since he lost Stephon Diggs is he hasn't been forced to give Stephon Diggs the ball when he's double and triple covered. He's allowed himself to kind of pass the ball around to whoever's open and take what he can get, which is nice. It's a different look from this offense, but it's nice. And at 4-2, when you get a wide receiver 1 like that, who's probably not going to be a huge whiny baby when he doesn't get the ball like Stephon Diggs was, you'll probably keep trending in the right direction. The Jets, on the other hand, are 2-4. Their offense kind of sucks. The defense kind of sucks. And their offense kind of sucks. The defense kind of sucks. And you don't really know what's going to happen with them. I mean, I'd like to say that they would be great, but on paper they should be with Aaron Rodgers. I don't care if he's 97 years old. I mean, he can beat anyone. He just can't do it now, I guess. But that's really it. Yeah, I mean, the Bills are only going to go as far as Josh Allen is going to take them at the end of the day, with Amari Cooper, without Amari Cooper, which is nice to have. But it's just nice to see also that the Buffalo's defense really picked up everything that was left to be desired on the offensive side. Taylor Rapp had a great game. Our own A.J. Epineza, I think he had 3 sacks on the night. And it was nice to see, it was nice to see A.J. play well. I mean, I obviously don't know him personally, but he's from Edwardsville, so it's always nice to see him. It's just, I mean, for the Jets specifically, going back to them, it's nice to see Nathaniel Hackett's back in the seat for play calling duties. I'm sorry, he's not. He got play calling duties taken away. I read my notes wrong. Because he sucks. But I mean, he was hired because Aaron Rodgers was brought here. Nathaniel Hackett was, and it's just not right. I don't know what they thought was going to come from that. Todd Downing, the new play caller, looked good. I mean, Breece Hall, like I said, had a great night rushing. He had 170 total yards. Aaron Rodgers had a good night, like I said, but I mean, when one of your touchdowns comes from a Hail Mary, does that really mean anything? It's cool, and it's nice to see that he's still able to do that, I guess. But he's just too inconsistent. And even the games that he does play relatively well, I mean, Greg Zerline missed 2 kicks. That obviously doesn't help. You'd be up by 3 if that happened. Yeah, we're going to have to live with the forwards hat. I don't like the backwards hat. It doesn't feel right. But Greg Zerline, yeah, had a nightmare of a game. Missing 2 kicks, 43 and 32 yards out. I mean, at least they're keeping the games close. From what I remember, I mean, they've had pretty close games that they've lost. But if they're not going to figure out how to win these games, they're going to have a really, really long season. And that's just how it's going to be. Next we have where they at? The Bears and the Jags. In London, mate. They be in London. It's so cool. They're living out and playing football in London. That was stupid. But, I mean, Caleb Williams looked great, right? 226 yards, 4 touchdowns. Great. Had a fantasy day. Had a great fantasy day. I have him in fantasy, and my team still got clobbered. He threw 1 pick, but 4 touchdowns kind of makes up for that. DeAndre Swift had a great day, 91 yards and a touchdown. You love seeing that. Cole Kmet had 2 touchdowns. I mean, there's going to be a lot of times. Sorry, I keep yawning. I'm trying to actually, since I can actually like pause it easily, I'm trying to pause it so I can like pre-cut all this stuff because I don't really want to spend the time to edit this just yet. But I'll find a way to make this all better sooner rather than later, hopefully. But Trevor Lawrence had a pretty good game himself. 234 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Picks are going to happen. Evan Ingram, great. 10 catches for 102 yards. It only took about 75 years, but maybe the Bears finally have a franchise quarterback in Caleb Williams. Granted, it's just 1 game where he's done this. It's not like he's done this all 6 weeks. Sorry. But he got the ball around, which is nice. Looks like 2 completions to about 5 different receivers. Cole Kmet and Keenan Allen. They both got 2 touchdown passes. Thanks, Keenan Allen, for being on my bench when that happens. He's the first quarterback for the Bears for his rookie year to throw 4 touchdowns since 1999. That's nice. But they seem to be getting better every week, which is really nice to see. I'm not a huge fan of Caleb Williams. I only like him right now because he's on my fantasy team. I talked about that the last week I covered. But if he's going to continue to play well, then I guess he's going to continue to play well, and that's nice. He's not a rival of mine. So, play well. Play your ass off, kid. The Jags, on the other hand, I mean, it wasn't bad. Trevor Lawrence had an okay game. Couldn't really get it rushing. Dearness Johnson is your rushing leader for 28 yards. Not great. But, I mean, the question coming into this game is Doug Peterson going to have a job? I mean, Shad Khan, their owner, I mean, yeah, he's going to have this job, but does that really mean anything? It was kind of disaster in London. I say that, only having 1 pick is bad, but, when it's as bad as Trevor Lawrence's, the one he threw in the second half, that's not bad. But at the end of the day, it doesn't help when your receivers dropped a multitude of passes. But at the end of the day, well, they could drop all the passes you want, but you still didn't do enough to win the game. You still couldn't run the ball. Still couldn't do everything you wanted. But, I mean, their defense wasn't great. this team isn't really going to be doing anything. I mean, I don't trust Trevor Lawrence at all. He's not great. There's not a great team around him. Their defense is supposed to be good, but they weren't good this week. And it's going to be interesting what Shad Khan is going to decide coaching-wise. If he wants to hold on to Peterson for the season or if he wants to hold on him for a long time. I mean, it kind of just seems like they're getting people and players out there, and it's just not working. That's not how you win. You don't just get people. You have to get the right people. But next we're going to look into the Bengals, who beat the Giants 17-7. The Bengals defense has been horrendous this season. But, I mean, you only give up 7 points. So, I mean, you must have done something well, right? Joe Burrow had 208 yards, didn't throw a touchdown. I mean, when you score 17 points, it's kind of going to happen. Joe Burrow was also their leading rusher, 4 carries for 55 yards and ran in a touchdown. T. Higgins, surprisingly, led receiving, 7 receptions for 77 yards. That's nice. Wide receiver 3, some would argue he could be a wide receiver 2 or 1 in different for different teams. But it's just, this team has been so inconsistent last year and kind of in the beginning of this year that I can't really trust. I mean, it's the Jets. You have Daniel Jones at quarterback. He's not great. He's way overpaid. But it's nice to see they beat the team that they're supposed to beat, right? And that's nice. But you beat the team you're supposed to beat, so it's not that nice, I guess. On the other side, you have Daniel Jones, 205 passing yards, 1 pick. Daniel Jones led rushing to 11 carries for 56 yards. He thinks he's Lamar Jackson or something. Tywin Tracy Jr. led in receiving for 6 catches and 57 yards. You got no Malik Neighbors. You had, I think the running back was out too or something, which isn't great. You march down the field and you throw a pick with Daniel Jones. It's expected to happen because he kind of sucks. Greg Joseph, their kicker, missed 2 field goals in the second half. Also, not great. And even since the Giants' defense kind of beat the shit out of Joe Burrow, it didn't really matter because you couldn't score offensively. Azeez Ojulari, 4 sacks. But when your offense only scores 7 points, you don't get to win football games. Not in this age. Maybe 60 years ago. But this team will be a little bit better when Malik Neighbors comes back. And I really like Malik Neighbors. Kind of wish he didn't go to the Giants. Not saying he should have went to the Cardinals. I mean, that would have been nice, but there's no way he would have fell because we were drafting Marvin Harrison Jr. with our first-round pick anyways. But, yeah, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. The Giants kind of suck. The Bengals are inconsistent. Not really a whole lot else to talk about. Kind of hitting this rapid fire, I hope. We got Baltimore beating Washington 30-23. Lamar Jackson, 323 passing yards. That's cool. Still don't think he can throw the ball. He only threw 1 touchdown, threw a pick. I've never thought he could throw the ball. Kind of sucks at it. The Washington defense isn't that great, to be honest with you. But this kid, Jane Daniels, he is something else. He's been consistently good just about every single week of this year, especially as a rookie. That's something special, and I really think he's going to be something special. 269 yards, 2 touchdowns. Zach Ertz had 4 catches for 68 yards. That's nice to see. Former Arizona Cardinal. But it's just, I mean, the Commanders' defense has been not great this whole season. And you could tell this week it really, really hurt him. They could not stop Derrick Henry. I mean, it's kind of hard to do that in the sense that it's Derrick Henry, but he's getting older. Maybe he's 30 this year. But 24 carries for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. You should not let a 30-year-old Derrick Henry look like vintage Derrick Henry from like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. But if they were to shore up the defense, I think this team could be really, really, really good. Just especially out of nowhere. Jane Daniels looked good, like I said. He looked really, really good. He threw the ball well. He was sacked 3 times that game. But I feel like this is a game that you're not... I mean, obviously you're pissed that you lost, but you're not really screaming and kicking and crying. I mean, this was a good game by your offense. Your defense was the issue, but you already knew that. It's not like new issues have popped up, new holes in the offense or something like that has popped up, and you know what you need to fix, hopefully this trade deadline or this offseason to really get this team going into gear. And I mean, you're already 4-2 from a team that was horrendous and kind of went on a run and with Taylor Heineke and this, that, and the other, and kind of fell off the face of the earth again, and now they're kind of getting back into relevancy, which is nice to see. But I mean, that's kind of it. I mean, it's kind of cut and dry with that game. There's not a whole lot to talk about. But next, you're gonna hear me get really, really pissed off. Because next we're going to talk about the Arizona Cardinals losing to the Green Bay Packers 34-13. Kyler Murray, 214 yards, 1 touchdown. Cool. Trey Benson, it's just so frustrating. I don't. This game was so bad. I don't even know what to say. We got fucking mollywopped. For no reason. We were losing 24-0 at one point. And we couldn't hold on to the ball. We lost 3 fumbles. And I don't know. I mean, Kyler Murray had no room to run. And if we're going to play like this, we might as well just give up for the season. Because this is fucking horrendous. And it frustrates me. Obviously, I like Kyler Murray. I think he's better than Lamar Jackson. Trey McBride had a good game. That's cool, but we played like shit. So, sorry for my bad language, but this team really likes to piss me off sometimes. I was talking with just the factory of sadness. The one Super Bowl I'm alive to see. We lose to my brother and my dad's team, the Steelers. Super fun. His foot did not get down, all right? As whatever they tell you, his foot was not down, and that was not a touchdown. I don't care. It was stupid. I hate this. It's dumb. I hate being a Cardinals fan sometimes, but I'm still going to root for him because I'm not no bandwagon, all right? I don't really want to talk about this game anymore. It was stupid. All right, we're going to talk about Tennessee. Oh, I got the hiccups. That's not good. It's like etiquette 101. You're not supposed to get the hiccups. Tennessee and the Colts. Where are they at in the notes? Here they are. I mean, yeah, here we are. The Colts are playing 500 football. Joe Flacco has been on quite the run. Their head coach has said that once Anthony Richardson is healthy, he will be the starting quarterback. But it's nice to see Joe Flacco kind of play vintage Joe Flacco. Now, granted, he only had 189 passing yards, but he threw 2 touchdowns. He had 1 pick, but, you know, like I said, and then contradicted myself 6 or 7 times, 1 pick isn't always that bad. But, you know, Will Levis, on the other hand, had a whopping 95 passing yards because he sucks at football. He sucks really bad at football. But maybe it's just the rookie jitters. I don't know. But as long as this Will Levis is underneath center, they're not gonna do shit. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say about Will Levis. I mean, he only threw for 95 yards, and he's thrown a pick in 5 straight games, and he sucks super bad. I don't really know what else to say. I mean, the Colts kind of weren't great, but they played a horrendous Titans team because Will Levis is their starting quarterback. And if that's going to happen, then you're just going to beat the Titans every week, and that's nice because, I don't know, let's not like the Titans. Yeah, we hate the Titans, all right? Next, we're going to talk about Houston beating New England 41-21. They are here. Texans didn't have Nico Collins, but they did have Joe Mixon. He was back, and I played against him in fantasy, which was not super cool. He had 13 carries for 102 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, I mean, 132 yards total. I think he caught a touchdown, too. He had 7 yards, just about 7 yards per carry. With Nico Collins out, C.J. Stroud really gave it to Stephon Diggs, who hasn't been throwing hissy fits, which is kind of stupid. He's on a equally skilled team, and he's not throwing hissy fits when he hasn't been getting the ball. But this week he did. 6 catches for 77 yards and a touchdown, which is nice. Tank Dell had 7 catches for 57 yards and a touchdown. That's also nice to see. This is a really, really good Texas team, and they kind of came out of nowhere. But it's cool to see. It's not Deshaun Watson, so that's always nice, because I hate Deshaun Watson too, for everything that he did. I'm sure a lot of you know. I don't really know if I can talk about that, because I'll be posting this to YouTube instead of posting it straight to Facebook. I don't know if I can get into that. I mean, I don't think I would get... it's not like I'm really getting any money from this, but still. Maybe one day I will. But the Patriots, their offense wasn't great. Jacoby Brissett isn't great. But they decided to put in Drake May this week. And he threw 3 touchdowns. He had 2 picks, but I think it was his first start of his career. So, yeah, it's whatever. He threw a 50-yard bomb down the sideline. That was pretty cool to see. Yeah, I mean, I think he fumbled the ball as well. But the Patriots team, they just kind of suck. Their offensive line kind of sucks. They've given up the most sacks in the NFL. And Drake May was sacked 4 times this week by himself. But I was actually able to pause easily for a drink of water. That was nice. But, I mean, I guess the only thing you can pull from this game is that they looked better with Drake May under center. And right now, that's all you really care about. I mean, Patriots have been kind of in this kind of sad cloud of raininess for however long, and you're kind of starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And as much as I don't want it, because the Patriots have won enough Super Bowls, and I kind of want the Cardinals to win a couple in my lifetime, it's nice to see them coming back and be different. They're a different team. But let's move on to Tampa Bay scoring 51 points. First 50-burger of the season against New Orleans. I mean, the Buccaneers obviously dominated this game. They scored 50 points. Granted, they were kind of kind of weren't there in the second quarter, but it was nice to see. I mean, they're kind of a frisky team, right? Sean Tucker had 136 yards rushing and a touchdown. I don't even know who the hell that is, but that's pretty cool. Chris Godwin, I know who the hell that is, had 125 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. That's also pretty cool. Baker Mayfield, pretty sure I played against him as well this week. He had 325 yards and 4 touchdowns. He threw 3 picks, but that's whatever. You kind of expected this with Derek Carr going out. You had Spencer Rattler under center, and he's not that great. This is his first start, but and you thought it wasn't going to be bad. The first half wasn't bad. I mean, he scored 27 points, which is cool, I guess. But the second half was pretty bad. I mean, Bradley got sacked 4 times in the second half. He also threw his 2 interceptions in the second half. And the Saints give up like 600 yards of offense, which not great. But when you give up 50 points, you're not going to have a stout defense, right? Yeah, I mean, you're just, I mean, I don't care if you had Jesus Christ under center. I don't think he was going to win that game. They're kind of losing the season here. You've lost 4 in a row. You really thought, yeah, we're 2-0, beat Dallas, we did this, scored a whole bunch of points, and now we kind of suck. But that's whatever, I guess. Let's move on to Philadelphia beating Cleveland. Philadelphia has kind of fallen off the wagon here lately. I just lost all of my stuff. Here we are. But they're above 500. Jalen Hurts had a pretty good game. Didn't throw a pick. 264 yards and 2 touchdowns. Deshaun Watson had 168 yards. No touchdowns. Great. That's what I like to hear. I hate Deshaun Watson. Pierre Strong Jr. after, what's his name? The running back. I can't think of his name right now. Sorry, I'm bad. After their second string, technically starting running back, got hurt, Pierre Strong Jr. had 43 rushing yards. Not great, but, when your quarterback has 168 passing yards, that's also not great. Mark Cooper had 4 catches for 42 yards. That's pretty cool. On the flip side, A.J. Brown had 116 yards and a touchdown. That's not great. Brown's special team scored a touchdown, blocked a field goal. That's cool. They only let the Eagles' offense get inside the red zone 1 time. That's pretty cool. But their offense sucks. Their offense blows. And I'm happy for it. I absolutely despise Deshaun Watson. I hope he loses every cent with everything that's going on. I hope he's one of the players. I don't usually wish injury on someone, but he deserves it. Yeah. I mean, the Browns have only scored 1 touchdown in their past 29 drives, and that's not going to win games at the end of the day. Simple as that. On the flip side, let's look at the winning team. H. Brown is back on the field since week 1, which is nice. I mean, 6 passes for 116 yards. He caught the 40-yard catch that basically sealed the game. I mean, obviously this offense isn't the high-flying offense that we saw when they went to the Super Bowl, but obviously it's going to be better with A.J. Brown inside of this offense, back in the lineup. Defense was pretty great. They sacked Deshaun Watson 5 times. Yes. But again, we're kind of at a time where you're supposed to beat this team. The Browns suck a lot. And if you would have lost this, there would have been a lot of question marks. And you really kind of hung in with this team. And you really shouldn't have. You should have kind of ran away with it and dominated this game. But a win is a win at the end of the day. And that's where we're at. Next, we're going to talk about the Chargers beating the Broncos. I made a mistake. My fiance's not a Buccaneers fan. She is a Broncos fan. I'm sorry. She got mad at me. She's like, you said I was a Broncos fan or a Buccaneers fan. See, I already did it. I was like, sorry, stop yelling at me. She didn't actually yell at me, guys. Don't be mad. But let's look at the losing team first. Justin Herbert fully healthy. That's great. But their defense was pretty great the winning team. I'm sorry. Their defense was pretty great this week. Bo Nix threw 2 picks. He threw 1 interception. It was on the 3rd play of the game, and things really only went up from there. LA forced 2 turnovers in the first half. They both led to points, which is always great. Stealing points from the other team is better than just stealing time. Chargers felt different because you didn't have Keenan Allen and you didn't have this, but it certainly was nice to see them play good football. Mr. Herbert kind of leaned on Keenan Allen a lot, and now he doesn't have that. So Quentin Johnston is the guy, and he's also the guy that dropped every single pass that was thrown to him last year, and he's not doing that anymore, which is cool. But this defense is really, really controlling this team. If this defense has a bad week, they're going to lose. But if they're not, you have he's kind of turned into a game manager at this point in Justin Herbert. But if it works, it works, I guess. On the other side, we have the Broncos. Throw a pick in the 3rd play, not great. It kind of stayed that low. Couldn't get out of the rut that they were in. They had 60 yards total in the first half, and they ended up turning the ball over twice. It doesn't say who fumbled it. Probably should have looked that up, but it's whatever. He scored 16 points in the 4th quarter, so that's kind of nice. I mean, it sucks. Patrick Surtain went out, had to leave with a concussion, and he's really like the leader of your offense. He's one of the best DBs in the league right now, and the Broncos started floundering after that. But they're 500, and that's a lot better record than I would have put them at before the season. And that's all you can hope for, right? It's be better than what you're expected to be. Were the expectations low? Yes. But if you keep your expectations low, you won't be disappointed later on, right? Next, we're going to look at Pittsburgh beating the Raiders. My dad and brother are pretty happy about that. 32-13. Justin Fields didn't really have a super great game. Only had 145 yards passing, no touchdowns. Najee Harris had a great game. 14 carries for 106 yards and a touchdown. But once again, the Steelers' defense is something else. Gave up a touchdown on the first drive and didn't give up another touchdown for the rest of the game. TJ Watt I'm literally speechless. He's in my eyes the best defensive player in the league. He's something else, and this defense is something else. and they are the reason that they are able to be at or above 500 every season when you don't have a quarterback like Ben Roethlisberger anymore. Justin Fields had 2 rushing touchdowns, which is nice. But I'd like to see him pass the ball and get more consistent passing the ball before I can really lean into this team. But right now, you're winning games like you're supposed to be winning. Justin Fields is managing the game well, not throwing any picks, doing what he needs to do, and letting his defense carry. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. Las Vegas kind of sucks on the other side. They turned the ball over 3 times. Steelers blocked a punt. And that really kind of sealed it in the third quarter. You can't do that and win games. You can't have all these issues. This team is not great. It was missing their top 2 receivers, but I don't think that would have mattered, honestly. Not much else to talk about them. I mean, the Raiders kind of suck, and that's kind of where we're at. They're 2-4, and I think they're going to lose a lot more games. Next, we're going to talk about Atlanta. They're somewhere in here. Oh boy, where'd they go? All right, well, I'm gonna wing it. Yeah, I mean, Atlanta beats Carolina 38-20. Kirk Cousins had 500 yards passing, which is nice. Nice to see him back to kind of where he was. Bijan Robinson, 95 yards. Tyler Algier, 105 yards. They combined for 3 touchdowns to literally and figuratively kind of carry Atlanta to a victory. But, yeah, I mean, it's nice. Their defense kind of let Carolina stay in the game. But, you know, Andy Dalton threw 2 interceptions at the end of the game. So it kind of... I mean, on the flip side, I don't really know what to say about the Panthers. They kind of suck. Deontay Johnson's nice. But you start Andy Dalton over your backup or your top pick, and you're kind of supposed to be using this to have him grow, and he's not doing that right now. You don't really have the time to let him sit on the sideline anymore. But I guess that's where we're at, and that's where they're going to be, and they're going to be bad for a while. But let's get into the Cowboys getting their ass beat, because that's always fun to talk about, right? They lost 47-9 to the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff, 315 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. David Montgomery, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jameson Williams, 3 catches, 76 yards, and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb had a pretty CeeDee Lamb day, 89 yards. That's cool. Dak Prescott threw 2 picks, and he sucks, and he's overpaid. There's not really a whole lot to talk about here. You had a cool flea flicker touchdown. That was pretty cool. David Montgomery was great, like I said. Their defense got to Dak Prescott 4 times. Aiden Hutchinson, unfortunately, is done for the season. He snapped his leg in half. If you've got a strong stomach and you're willing to go back and watch, you can actually hear it happen on the broadcast. Happy birthday to Jerry Jones, right? 82. They gave up over half of his age in points. So that's cool, right? Happy birthday. I mean, what is there to talk about? This team played like shit. Their quarterback is inconsistent. They don't have a running back to save their lives, and CeeDee Lamb should have requested a trade. This team kind of sucks. Their defense kind of sucks. Micah Parsons is great. That's just about it. Next we have good old Thursday night game. We have the 49ers beating the Seahawks. Brock Purdy had a great game, 255 yards and 3 touchdowns. George Mason got hurt, which is not great because he got me like 4 points in fantasy. Cool, great. Deebo Samuel had a great game receiving 102 yards. George Kittle caught 2 touchdowns. Isaiah, is it Gurendo? Let's go with that. 99 yards rushing. As a rookie, that's cool. But I would rather have Jordan Mason. But that didn't happen. Brock Purdy, game manager, doing what he needs to do, has been doing what he needs to do, and I'm here for it. On the flip side, Geno Smith has been kind of having this issue, kind of throwing picks. He said when they let him start in Seattle last year, he's like, oh, they wrote me, but I ain't reaching out or something like that. And now he's been calling the pick guy. Oh, talk to the other team. Yeah. Arizona beat the 49ers. The Seahawks couldn't. The Seahawks suck. Yeah. Geno Smith threw a pick on the first possession. So that's kind of where the game went from there. Defense gave up 500 yards of offense, the Seahawks. And this team was like the no good, very bad, horrible day of whoever, like that book or movie. I don't remember. They'll know they can't throw picks or fumble the ball or do whatever they do because that loses them games. And that's just about that. Yeah. Oh, they fumbled a kickoff. I'm reading that right now. Nice. Yeah, no, that's not good. But, like the Seahawks. Now we're going to hop over into week 7. Thursday night, we got the Broncos and the Saints. If Bo Nix can play well, they could very well win this game. The Saints are kind of floundering right now, and I don't think he's coming back. Let's see. Another Google time with Dylan. Derek Carr, injury update. As you can tell, I kind of read off some stuff previous week, and I'm kind of winging it. Let's see what the Saints have to say about Derek Carr next week. No, he's doubtful. Okay, so hopefully the rookie and Bo Nix can get it done. I'd like to see the Broncos win this game because my fiance is a Broncos fan, not a Buccaneers fan. Let me reiterate that. Broncos. Peyton Manning's previous team, not Buccaneers. But it'd be nice to see him win. I mean, I won't see him win because I'll be at work. But that's besides the point. Next, we got the Patriots and the Jaguars. Both these teams kind of suck. Depends on what Trevor Lawrence you're going to get. I think the Jaguars probably win this game, unless Drake May wants to have a great game. It's kind of up in the air. I don't really want to pick a winner because it's kind of hard to pick because they're both pretty inconsistent teams. Let's say the Jaguars. Jaguars will win. Next, we got the Falcons and the Seahawks. I think the Falcons win this game. Sorry about that. I think you have a quarterback play in Seattle that just isn't up to snuff against a team like this on paper. This team really should be a high-flying offense like the Falcons. I really think this should be better than the record shows, even though they are 4-2. But you know, let's hope. I guess let's hope Kirk Cousins, Big Kirko, stay dripping or whatever he says. Let's look at the Titans and the Bills. The Bills are probably gonna should absolutely destroy the Titans. Especially now with Amari Cooper, if he can learn the playbook by Sunday, it'd be nice to see him play. And I really think they will probably win this game. I mean, Will Levis sucks balls. So that's where we're at. Next, we got the Bengals and the Browns. If the Bengals can play consistently good, they should beat the Browns because the Browns suck, which is nice. But if not, then the Browns might win this game. If Joe Burrow wants to play like he is actually Slim Shady and doesn't know how to throw the ball, then the Browns will probably find a way to lose anyways because they're the Browns and they like doing it. So yeah, we'll go with the Bengals no matter what. Next we got the Texans and the Packers. I really think this is going to be a good game. The Texans are obviously a really good team. I really think Jordan Love can probably set the record straight that he's a consistent quarterback. I really think this should have been like a primetime game, not like a noon game. Now they're going to prove me wrong, and the Texans are going to like trounce the Packers or something like that. But let's hope not. I really think it's going to be a good game, but I think the Texans are going to end up winning. Next, we got the Dolphins and the Colts. Both these teams are kind of in like this factory of sadness type deal. I don't think Anthony Richardson will be back next week. Another Google time with Dylan. Anthony Richardson. Oh, he's questionable. Okay. Maybe he might be back. I mean, I don't really know how much that does for them winning. I don't even know. Is Tyler Huntley still the starting quarterback for the Dolphins? Yeah, it's Tyler Huntley. So, yeah, I mean, I guess his nickname is Snoop Huntley. All right. I would like to say that he's better than Skylar Thompson. So, I don't know. I think I trust Joe Flacco a little bit more. Next, we have a really, really, really good divisional matchup here with the Lions and the Vikings. 2 years ago, right? Is that when? Anyways, when Philadelphia went to the Super Bowl, I had made kind of that prediction. I had told my brother and my dad, I was like, this in the offseason, I was like, this team is really good. And they're like, no. I was like, come on, why don't you get on this train? Get it, Philadelphia train. And they're like, no, I don't want a ticket. And they started winning. Like, give me a ticket. I was like, all right, cool. So I'm kind of making this type of prediction with them for the past couple of years. Last year was the Jets, and I really got that wrong, but you lost your starting quarterback within like 13 seconds. So I can't really count that one against me. This year, oddly enough, was the Vikings. I was like, you want to get on this boat? And they're like, let's see. And then they went 1-0. And I was like, you want to get on this boat? And they're like, let's see. And then they went 2-0. And was that week 1 that they beat? I don't remember what week they beat the 49ers. But that was the week. My dad was like, put me on the boat. I want to be on that boat. And it was week 1. And then week 2, they beat the Texans. And that's when he was like, put me on the boat. So, yeah. Sam Darnold has the best receiver in the league for him, which is nice to see. And they're 5-0. And I really trust this team. Unlike a couple years ago when they won 11 games and went to the playoffs. I didn't trust that team. This team I do. This is a tough one. I'm gonna say the Vikings stay undefeated. I think they win this game. feel like it's going to be, let me try to like premonition this. Dan Campbell's going to call for a fourth down and they're going to miss it or something, and they're going to fake or something, and it's going to come back to bite them in the ass. Next we got the Eagles and the Giants. Eagles should win this game. The Giants suck. I should stop saying suck so much. The Giants are not good. As long as Daniel Jones is your quarterback, you're going to get inconsistent quarterback play. End of the day. The Eagles need to win. They should win. And if they don't, they have major issues. Not really much else to talk about. I think the Eagles are going to win this game. Next, we got the Raiders and the Rams. Both these teams aren't great. The Rams are 1-4. Got absolutely trounced by Arizona. That was pretty cool. But I don't really know. The Raiders lose their number one wide receiver, even though he hasn't played in like 3 weeks. The Rams are just kind of like, they're just kind of there. Like, they just kind of show up. So I guess I'll say the Raiders win this game. Kind of a toss-up because they're kind of both bad teams. But next we got the Panthers and the Commanders. Panthers are going to win this game. Commanders are going to win this game. Panthers are not. It's pretty cut and dry there. Panthers are not great offensively. They're even worse defensively. They don't have a great running game, so certainly a fear that the Commanders have going against them. I like to see Jaden Daniels really go off. I want to see 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. I don't know if we're going to see that, but it'd be cool. It's kind of where we're at. Next we got the Chiefs and the 49ers Super Bowl rematch. Chiefs are undefeated, and 49ers are 3-3. I don't really know if that really pertains or imposes really super well on their record. I think they're a lot better than that. I really think this is going to be a good game. Hopefully, I don't really want to see the Chiefs or the 49ers kind of trounce the other one. It kind of ruins like these super cool matchups like this. But that's kind of where we're at. I don't really know. I feel like the Chiefs are probably still going to win this game. They'll find a way. You got Patrick Mahomes. It's kind of cut and dry there. Next we got Sunday night with the Jets versus the Steelers. Steelers are home, so that's always something you got to look out for. The Jets are the Jets. They have an extra day to get Devontae Adams, which that's a new threat that they have to live with, that the Steelers have to live with. So maybe the Jets win this game, but I'll side with my dad and my brother, and I'll say the Steelers win. Because I kind of do want them to beat the record for most seasons above 500. It's kind of hard to get those records like that. It takes decades to get something like that done. We got a doubleheader Monday night. We got the Ravens versus the Bucks. I don't really know. We got former AFC North matchup because your Buccaneers quarterback isn't in the AFC North anymore. But it's been kind of inconsistent. I think the Ravens probably win this game. They're just a better team all around. I don't know if the Buccaneers can handle Derrick Henry in the backfield. I really wouldn't be surprised to see him kind of go off this week. So I'm going to pick the Ravens. And then we have my Arizona Cardinals versus the Chargers. I don't know if Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be at this game. He got... I got the hiccups again, sorry. Put into concussion protocol. But this Chargers team isn't great. Like I said, this Chargers team isn't great. We're home. And we're wearing the black and reds, which, I don't know. we don't win in the black and reds. We're like 1 and forever in the black and reds. So, I mean, I don't really know how much that says anything. Maybe we're due. Let's say it that way. I'll be biased, and I'll say the Cardinals win this game. Yeah, I mean that's where we're at. We talked about week 6, talked about week 7. Like I said, guys, let me know if you want me to talk about St. Louis Cardinals or the St. Louis Blues at some point. You can really hear me get frustrated about the St. Louis Cardinals if you want that. But yeah, that's it, guys. Hopefully nothing else emergency-wise happens to me so I don't have to take a 2-week hiatus, and I'll be back next week. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.